Hey, what's up, tubers? This is the SHTF Hunter coming at you today with a little video. I got another video called Shotguns in SHTF, and so it is fairly popular, and I figured I'd try one and call it Rifles in SHTF. And I'm going to go over a few different platforms. I'm going to go over cartridge selection. I'm going to go over some scope upgrades you may want to consider, and then we'll go over some different cartridges also. But so I got some of my different platforms laid out here, and I got them laid out from kind of bad to good. So look, first off, let's talk about how far we need to shoot. Now, we all don't live in the same areas. I live in a rural area. Some people live in urban areas where your shots may be shorter, and some people live out in the Great Plains where you may have to shoot 500 to 1,000 yards, but that's a pretty extreme shot anyway, 1,000 yards. But you may have to put a deer down a long distance or something. But anyway, so let's talk about the distance we may have to shoot. Now, I live in a rural area and here in the mountains, and my typical shot's probably under 200 yards most of the time. I believe that I believe a person needs to be able to shoot a minimum of 200 yards. If you can't shoot any other distance, practice or zero if you have a duplex rifle, a scope of a duplex, zero that thing in for 200 yards. I think it should be your minimum shot. So that's the minimum. Maximum, that's maximum's on you. How far can you shoot? I believe a maximum for me, the most I probably need to be able to shoot is probably 500 yards. So all right, so we got our minimum. You need to be able to shoot 200 yards. Your maximum, that's on you, So get out there, get the training, get to where you can hit that 200-yard target. All right, so let's start going over different platforms. The old Ruger 1022, or this is just representing 22s in general. We'll talk about the advantages, disadvantages. Advantages, you can carry a whole lot of ammo. Disadvantages that it's not going to be much effective over 100 yards. It's good for taking small game, not that great for taking larger game. It's good for killing predators or varmints outside your house on your property. Something that's actually chickens. That's mostly what I use 22 for anymore, just killing critters around the yard and not alerting the neighbors too much. But so I think a 22 would be a good secondary weapon, but not a primary for SHTF. All right, let's move on to the second platform. This is the closest thing I have to a pistol caliber carbine. It's a Ruger 44 Magnum semi-auto. Talk about the advantages, disadvantages. If I was, so most pistol caliber carbines, you're probably not going to get great accuracy past 100 yards. We'll start off with advantages. If I was going to run pistol caliber carbine, it would be a semi-auto 9mm that uses Glock magazines, because I'm going to be using a Glock handgun, a Glock 9mm. I won't be able to use the same magazine in my AR-9 rifle or whatever. AR-9 rifle, I had one and I don't have it no more. But a couple advantages: it does use some AR-15 parts, and that's another thing. Whatever rifle platform you get, you want to be able to go walk into stores possibly and buy spare parts for it. That's why I tend to stay with AR platforms more than anything, because there's parts available. So that's one of the biggest reasons I go for them. All right, so advantage to pistol caliber carbine, you could use the same ammo for rifle or pistol. Sometimes you can use the same feeding devices, magazines, and the disadvantage is obviously short range rifle, probably up, mostly effective up to 100 yards. If you're really good, you might squeeze out a little more range, but I don't think it'd be very effective at 200. So there's pistol caliber carbine. Next, everybody loves 30-30s, but I don't think there's nothing advantageous about using a 30-30 in this modern day. And the reason I say it, the lever action rifle was pretty much the assault rifle of the late 1800s and early 1900s. It was a fast rifle, and but in this modern day, I don't think there's nothing advantageous to using a lever action. I would rather use like a 30-30 lever action or a 35 Remington over a pistol caliber carbine. This is actually a 35 Remington. It ain't a 30-30, but it's got a little more power. One of the reasons I don't think it's advantageous is, parts on lever actions do go bad. Sometimes parts come loose. I've had a loose screw on this one. When I first got it, I think it's the reason it got traded off, was the feed ramp. The feed ramp screw was loose, and it was causing it wouldn't hardly load. But I found it loose, and I put some Loctite on it, tightened it up. Thing works great now. But so anyway, I would only use a lever action if it's the only thing I had. But I'd rather use it over a pistol caliber carbine. All right, now we're going to bolt action. This is kind of a representation of probably your daddy's gun, your granddaddy's gun, but this is a 270 lever action. Not bolt action, I'm sorry. So 270 bolt action. There's still no, when it comes to accuracy, there's still nothing that really compares to a bolt action rifle. So if you want to go that route, if you're like me, you live in a rural area, so you can go that route and you'll probably be all right. So this has got a regular duplex scope. I'm going to talk about some upgrades you could do to make this a better rifle out at longer distances. A duplex, if anybody don't know, is just a regular crosshair, kind of like an X, and you put the, zeroed in for known distance, like 200 yards, pull the trigger, something dies. Other than that, you don't have a clue where the bullets are hitting. But anyway, so it's just representing the old wood stock bolt action rifle. I would rather use this over these other three guns, or platforms. So there's that. Oh, let me say something else about Ruger. I have quite a few Rugers, and I have some of the Ruger Ranch models. What do you call them? Oh crap, Ruger American Ranch. And most of them are chambered for intermediate cartridges, which is the same ones AR-15 use. But Ruger, there's a lot of spare parts available for Ruger rifles. Whether it be a bolt action or semi-auto or whatever. So that's one of the reasons I tend to lean towards the Rugers a lot. All right. We didn't talk about the advantages. The advantages of bolt action, it's really accurate and they're really long range. Disadvantages, it don't shoot as fast as a semi-auto. Okay. Now the AK platform, everybody's familiar with the AK platform. I used these when I was like in my early 20s. So advantages of most of your AKs are 7.62 by 3.9. So advantage is fairly powerful. The bullets, the ammo's fairly cheap for it. Disadvantages is it's hard to go into a gun store in America and find spare parts for this rifle, this weapon. So that's one of the biggest reasons I don't use AKs much anymore, is because they're hard to get spare parts for. And during the SHTF, you want to make sure you got spare parts. They're powerful. I mean, you know, they'll shoot through multiple walls, barriers, whatever. I think they have more penetration capabilities than the AR-15 and 5.56, because I've seen more than one test where they shot them into old houses and the bullets went through multiple walls. And I seen what Jason Hansen, he fired 3 rounds with an AK through a car doors. All 3 rounds went clean through. He fired 3 rounds with the AR-15 and 5.56. Only 1 out of 3 rounds went through them car doors. So, you know, scientific, not scientific. You know, the AK, in my opinion, the AK is probably the better penetrator. But, all right. Moving down to what I believe is the best platform. The AR-15 or the AR-10 platform. AR-10, you'll find less parts than you will in the AR-15 platform. And the advantages, these are accurate. These are pretty accurate out to, you know, a person could squeeze 500 yards out of an AR-15 and 5.56 pretty easily. All kinds of parts for them, parts everywhere. It really doesn't have a lot of disadvantages. I don't believe, but so I think this is, you know, this is probably the platform I would use in the SHTF. I think it's optimal, and so like I said, I can't think of a lot of disadvantages. We're gonna go over cartridges here in just a second. Okay, so we're gonna go over scopes. So I showed you this, which is a regular duplex rifle scope. That can be upgraded by using something like this is a Vortex Crossfire 2 3-9. It has a bullet drop compensator reticle. I've used these scopes with great success, anywhere from 100 to 500 yards. You don't have to change nothing in here. You got that bullet drop compensator. You just have to learn. You have to learn where the bullets are hitting on these different lines, and that would be a huge upgrade to your old bolt action rifle with a duplex. We're going to show you something else right here. This is a Monstrum LPVO. I think LPVO is probably the ultimate scope moving forward in modern combat, because you can turn it down to 1 power, and no matter what rifle you choose or what rifle you're using, LPVO, turn it down to 1 power and it becomes, you know, close quarter combat weapon. And then if you need to shoot deer out to 300 yards, you can turn this power back up to 6 or 8 or 10, whatever it is. Most of your LPVO is going to be 6 power, 8 power. You're really going to pay for a 10 power. This is a Monstrum. It is actually a 1 to, I think it's a 1 to 10. This is a lower dollar. These are lower dollar options for LPVO. But so that would be my scope upgrades. If you really want to upgrade your older scope, I think the LPVO is the best option for SHTF. Like I say, 1 power, perfect for CQB. Turn it up to 6 or 8, and drop that deer out 300 yards. All right, cartridge selection. So during the pandemic, and I never really thought it would. The pandemic of 2020, it wasn't the SHTF everybody was expecting or preparing for, but it did cause fear. And I never thought I would see a time where all the hunting ammo went off the shelf, but it did during 2020. All the hunting ammo, everything. But what made the fastest recovery, and I'd always heard people say, you know, buy NATO calibers. So ammo selection, the 223 and 308 made the fastest recovery, made it back out to the shelves. It was back on the shelf before anything else, or it was out there. And I just thought that was kind of weird, but it was. And also, I seen a bit of 30-06 ammo out there, which it's not been a NATO caliber in a long time, but 30-06 was on the shelf too. So, you know, right there's two options. You may want either a 5.56 or a 308, and so there's a couple options. If you really want, you know, a 30-06 is a big cartridge, and it can take down, it take down bear, it take down anything North America. But anyway, let's go over some of the intermediate range cartridges. That's gonna be for you like your AR platform or your AK platform, or even the Ruger American Ranch rifles I was talking about. Let me just say this: the 6.5 millimeter bullet and the 6.8 millimeter bullet are like God's gift to long range or down range, you know, performance. Those are the top performing bullets. So I'm gonna just say that, but you know, there are two options available. You got the 6.5 Grendel and 6.8 SPC. Now the Grendel, you can actually buy bulk Grendel ammo that the military. There's a military in Europe that actually uses 6.5 Grendel, so you can actually buy bulk 6.5 Grendel ammo. 6.5 Grendel is a little pricey. The 6.8 SPC, I think, is a dying cartridge. I would probably stray away from it, especially for SHTF. Both of these cartridges, you know, in a SHTF situation, you're probably not going to find them. So if you decide to buy a rifle in 6.5 Grendel, you better buy a whole bunch of ammo, you know, because there ain't going to be no resupply on it much. All right, now we're going with the more common cartridges. 5.56 or 223, you know, it's plentiful. Ain't much really to say for it. You know, you can get some longer range accuracy out of it, maybe out to 500 yards probably, in capable hands. 7.62 by 3.9 and the 300 blackout, they're kind of on the same playing field. You can't really talk about one without talking about the other. I think the 300 blackout is a cartridge mostly. If you're a reloader, I would use 300 blackout. But if you're not a reloader and just won't buy bulk ammo, I'd buy 7.62 by 3.9. Okay, what else we got? I'm not going to talk about 350 Legend or some of the bigger cartridges, because I just don't. 350 Legend's got only, you know, max distance probably like 200 yards. So, the bigger cartridges, you know, you got, I mentioned the 308 or 7.62 by 51.80. Like I say, it was back out on the shelf. I think also, I would consider getting a 6.5 Creedmoor between either 308 or 6.5 Creedmoor, and you can get both of those in the AR-10 platform. Obviously, the Creedmoor in the SHTF, you might be have a harder time finding the 6.5 Creedmoor ammo. But anyway, if you have any questions down below, if you ever wondering anything, I have quite a bit of firearm knowledge, rifle knowledge, and I could talk about this for a long time. And you know, but if you have any questions, hit me up down below in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. But all right, this is the SHTF Hunter. I'm out.